Dear Diary.
Dear Diary.
Dear Diary, wow, today was a really hard day.
Dear Diary, I find sometimes my life can be hard.
Dear Diary, it will pass and it will be okay.
Dear Diary, I feel like today is going to be...
Shh, the Indigo Diary.
Dear Diary, welcome world to the Indigo Diaries. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Natasha Hickling, and I'm the host of this brand new podcast, the Indigo Diaries. I welcome all you Indigos to the first series, The World Through Our Eyes, and this next episode with our brand new guest. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. I really hope that you enjoy today's first episode. However, I think I wasn't honest before because she is a brand new guest on this show, but not a brand new person to myself. This lovely lady has been a member of Indigo since I think, I don't really know dates, so I'm going to say week 3. She's been a very positive and encouraging person in our Indigo community. So I'm very delighted and honored she's decided to come on and to share her story. And a good and very early morning to you, Khalilah.
Good morning. Thank you. I feel, gosh, can you introduce me every morning? Like, can I wake up with that? That was awesome. Thank you so much.
So we really appreciate you coming on so early. It's dedication because we have an Indigo meeting after this. So let me tell you, bye. So let me begin by telling you a bit about Khalilah. Khalilah is 40. She lives in Maryland and she's in a military family with her husband and 2 sons. She's a photographer and she loves to take photos. She's graduated from the University of Life. She loves to travel with her family in their camper, and she's absolutely late for everything. However, I don't think she's that late to this. So I think you need to take that back now because you weren't late.
Okay. I was like 8 minutes late. I was 8 minutes late today.
You see, I was 8 minutes early. That's how I see it. Everyone else just 8 minutes early.
All right, we balanced it out.
Yeah,
there we go.
Did. So let me tell you, let's start. So I just want to say that before we begin, the first time I ever met Khalilah, she came onto Indigo and spoke with so much passion, assurance and encouragement. And I think that's the most thing I actually love about you is the encouragement that no matter whatever day or week you've had, you will always show up smiling, crying, and of course, making sure everyone is so proud of their accomplishments. And you always make sure that everybody else feels so supported. And I just think your kind nature is so contagious. So I really hope that everybody gets to see that kind of in this episode.
Thank you so much. Wow. That means a lot. I really appreciate that.
Oh, I don't say it lightly either. So where do you want to begin? It's up to you. I can tell that I'm very passionate about this episode because it's you. So you start wherever you feel like you want to start.
I think I'm going to start with being a woman with ADHD, ADD. I know anyway, yeah. So I have ADD. I am not hyper. I may mentally get hyper, but I am not a physically hyper person. And so mine more so comes out and just things that I do throughout the day or how things are planned, scheduled. I just had a word and it just left my brain. Just how my process goes. I think that's where my ADD really shows and how I process things. But I want to say first to the women and the moms specifically, the ADD has really been a struggle for me. I think it always has been. And I didn't really realize it until I had kids and trying to balance, taking care of my kids. We hyper focus, right? And
oh yeah, we do.
Yes. And for me, my hyper focus was my children. Because I had to take care of them. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And the one thing that I could control, and I think it was very innate for me, was my kids. Now everything else still falls to the wayside. when it comes to making sure that they're taken care of. But I easily felt like a failure. Just wondering, like, why can I not keep this together? Like, this should be so easy to just wake up in the morning, nurse my baby, and, put them down for a nap and just get things done. And I was paralyzed. I'm still paralyzed to this day. And I think there's so much pressure on us as women to have it all together. So I just want to say that you're acknowledged. I'm sorry if that was a really long pause. This is like, 3 seconds, go. That it's normal for us with ADD, and it's okay. Just keep learning about it and growing through it. So that's the first thing I want to say as a mom. What's next?
Wow, what a beginning, hey? I can't wait for the rest of the episode if that's the beginning. That was like encouragement of the week at the start. I absolutely love that. Thank you so much. So let's start as a child and we'll get to the parent. So what was it like for you kind of growing up? Obviously you didn't know you had ADHD, but what was it like? What did you struggle with? What was your childhood like?
Oh man, my childhood was me being in class and having no idea what was going on. Like, I literally don't remember most of what the class was about. Just trying to figure, math. God bless it. Math.
Tell us about this math. I remember when you told us about this in Indigo and everybody was like, yes, maths. What about maths?
Math sucks. So like, okay, I was good with the addition. I was good with, the basic foundational stuff, multiplication, because it's repetitive, memorization, great there. Then somehow they decided, whoever in the universe decided to add A's, B's, C's, X's, and Y's.
Algebra.
And like, why would you know? like there's letters and then there's numbers and they're parallel, not the same, right? And so God, I struggled. I failed almost every math class. If I didn't fail, I got a D. Which was barely passing, because I just could not understand it at all. And I always felt like, what is wrong with me? Like, why can I not get this together? And when it came to like English, I can talk all day long. Like, we can have a great conversation. Do not ask me to write my thoughts on paper in an organized fashion. I do not know. I don't want to do that. Just ask me the question and I'll tell you what you need to know, sort of thing. But anyway, so back to math. That was just, even I took some college classes and I completely failed that too. I think I took 3 Algebra 1 classes in college.
You gotta try. I have to say that I do that you kept going, persistence.
I was trying. I was like, okay, I can think of something. I have to warn you guys, and I just want to say this really quick. My kids may hear me, and because they hear me, they may just bust through the door.
Okay.
So I just want to apologize.
That's
right
a warning
now.
to everyone. If you have any kids, you know where they're from.
Yes. They hear you, especially if you're a mom. They're like, hey, she's up. So I think my husband locked the door, actually, which I love him for that. But anyway, okay, so yeah, that was me in school. I didn't do well. I barely graduated from high school. And it's funny because recently my husband and I, we keep all our letters from when we were dating. And I found a letter that I had wrote to him, and I was still in high school. And I was trying to figure out, like, why am I failing? And I remember writing to him, I'm trying to graduate, but I can't get my work done. And I don't know excuse me, what's wrong with me? Like there's something wrong that I cannot get where I need to get. And just reading that now, knowing what ADD is, it's so sad.
Yeah, it
you
is.
know, it's just sad to know that people are struggling and you just can't figure it out, you know.
I think the worst thing I can hear you saying is that math, your English, the things writing, and the letter, but you always say, "What's wrong with me?" And it's like that's what we do. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Because there's no explanation of when you're a kid. It's like there must be something wrong with me, and it's like maybe there's something wrong with the world or somebody else, but we always just put it on ourselves.
Yeah, that's true. And I feel like, especially in the 90s and 80s when I was a kid, I'm sure ADD was, people knew about it, but I don't think it was, and it's still not. We've come so long with autism and other learning disabilities like dyslexia and things like that. But I feel like ADD or ADHD is just such a complex set of things. There's a spectrum. I feel like just like autism, there's definitely a spectrum.
There's just so many
for it.
layers that it's not just attention. Like they say, it's
Oh,
just
God.
attention deficit. But there's just
Yeah.
so many different layers, and you find out things. And
Yeah.
so let's go back to your husband. So
Yes.
I think this is probably one of the most amazing things on your story is how long have you been with your husband?
We've been together since 1996.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's incredible. So how old were you when you met?
I was 16 and he was 19 when we met. Yeah, it'd be 24 years next month.
That's incredible.
I know, it's crazy. It's so crazy because we've been through so much, and to just see, where we are. And he is amazing. Like, I have to tell you, he is a partner that you want to have on your side. And I say that honestly. Real, like, being with me through all the I forgot to do this, or sorry I didn't clean the kitchen last night, or I know my side of the room is a mess and I'll clean it up tomorrow, which turns into 3 months.
And then tomorrow comes and we don't do it.
Yeah, comes and the guilt is there. The guilt is there within myself. Like, I recognize it has not gotten done. And that has led to a lot of depression in my life. And he's just been through it. I don't know what his process is, but whatever his process is, it always leads him to support, when I need support. So I'm really grateful for that. And I think since learning about our son's ADHD, over time, he has really taken an interest into watching how-to ADHD videos online, reading articles about my perspective and my experience of ADHD, and really trying to understand what the both of us go through with ADHD. So
that is
he's a great
so
partner.
rare. Like I have to say that, like when I heard you say that you'd been with your husband for that long, and like mine's only been 6 years, but you like, and they actually take an interest and they're actually trying to understand. Obviously, they'll never comprehend, but the fact that they're trying and they're trying to support you is just incredible. I think that's So what would you say has been the biggest challenge with you and your husband?
Oh man, so whenever we're talking about how we can, you have those conversations with your partner. You're like, okay, what do you need from me? How can I be a better partner in this relationship? We've been married 21 years, September. And for the past 21 years, it has been just clean up after yourself. that is his every response. Just clean up after yourself. And so I would say that sums up living. I'm so sorry. My kids are in the background.
It's okay.
I'm going to go in my closet.
You're
Maybe
gonna go in your closet, and do you know what? I'm not even going to take this out. Right now, Khalilah is literally walking into her closet, and I'm not even going to take this out. This is absolutely ADHD in there.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
brilliant.
Oh,
Dedication, that is.
I am officially in my closet. However, wait, I'm showing you my husband's side of the closet because it is more organized than my side of the
This
closet.
is brilliant. This is absolutely brilliant. So, clearly, you're in the closet and you were talking about cleaning up after yourself. Carry on.
Yes. And as I'm in the closet looking at this mound of clothes in front of me. Oh my gosh. But so yeah, that's always his request is just to clean up after yourself. And just knowing that wherever I go, there will be generally a trail of Khalilah somewhere. And just to know that he is just like, this is my wife, and she'll get it eventually, so I'm just really grateful for him.
Oh, that's amazing. I remember
Yeah.
you, I just think it's really special. So one of your sons has ADHD.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, my
How,
oldest.
how does that affect? How do you kind of manage that in your family with your ADHD, with his ADHD?
Wow, that is a challenge, and that may that's where the tears come. um it's hard. It's really, really hard. Some days I love my son. I will move mountains for my son. I will give him anything he needs to help him be successful in life. But it's really hard. He is hyper.
Okay.
I am not. We are both extremely passionate / emotional beings. And we really feed off each other. Like, for example, last night, before bed, like every night before bed at 8 o'clock, we go upstairs and it's time to prepare for bedtime, right? And it's like he is like, okay, hey, it's time to party. Let's turn on the music, let's find a rock and roll song, or some crazy hip hop song from FGTV or something like that. And they're like fighting in their room with swords and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, it is time for bed, like we need to calm it down, And so I finally said, listen, if you want to do this, you need to come up to your room 15 minutes earlier, get all of that out of your system. And then at 8 o'clock, we're going to listen to just podcast, or we'll read a book. I'll read a book to them for an hour just to, bring the zen,
Calm. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we had this conversation a couple days ago. Well, last night was day 2 of no songs. And my son flipped the lid, right? Flipped an absolute lid, went bananas, lost his mind. He threw a fit for like, I don't know, probably an hour. He's laying down on the floor in the kitchen next to our family room. And he's like, Mom, can I please? Mom, can I please? Please, please. And so he's crying, tore his room apart last night. And I'm trying so hard to just love him through it. But I just, and so anyway, I say that to say that it's just really hard sometimes to just get through it. Especially if I'm trying to find a way to reach him. I get overwhelmed, and then I'm crying because I feel like a failure as a mom. I feel like I can't help my son, and I'll say this quickly, because he's so hyper, he overstimulates me a lot of the times.
Yeah.
And so when I feel overstimulated, I retreat. And retreating for me is like being on my phone more than I should be. going to the store for like 2 hours, just whatever I can do to just, I don't know, just find peace because it's just so much. So anyway, that's how it shows, I think, a lot in our relationship. And at the same time, I really do try to make sure, he gets what he needs, personally, even though it's not always the best relationally, if that makes any sense.
I think that people forget that like ADHD, hyperactivity, and inattentive, I think they are completely separate conditions. That's what a lot of people are saying right now. There is crossovers, but they are completely different. Like when you meet someone that, obviously if you've got I have combined, so I got a bit of both. But when you've got, there's always one that's more though. But when you've got that, they're completely opposite. Like hyperactivity to you, like that shuts you off. The hyperactivity, if people shut off, they're like, oh, then the RSD comes in and there's so many layers to it. So I think that the what I love what you say is, as long as he's got what he needs, and I'll love him through it. And I think that's probably one of, in my opinion and in my experience, one of the most amazing things I've ever heard.
Wow, thank you. It's hard, it's hard, but as a mom, I'll deal with it myself, right? But in the thick of the moment, my focus is him. My focus is making sure he can come out of it, because I know what it feels like to just be overwhelmed with emotion, overwhelmed with wonder and questioning, why do I always get in trouble? Why do I always this? I know what that feels like. And so I really just dedicate that moment to him. And then afterwards, or sometimes during, I just lose my mind and I just start crying like crazy. And before I took antidepressants, I would just be sulking all day and, thinking, what would life be without me? Would he be better off without, me not having things together, So I still have those feelings. I just am not close to acting on them. But it's very overwhelming. It's very, very overwhelming. But at the end of the day, he's happy.
Yeah, we're all human. We're all human. Let's go on to about your diagnosis. So were you diagnosed after your son was diagnosed?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've been diagnosed now about 2 years.
Okay.
I was going, again, this goes back to like suicidal thoughts. I was just, my life is pretty amazing, right? I have an amazing husband. I have great kids. I have the life that I would want if it wasn't my life. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I was like, why am I so unhappy? I don't understand. Like, gosh, I live in a first world and things are fantastic, right? But every day I'm just so depressed. And so finally I was like, okay, go get help because your thoughts are not getting better. They're just getting worse. So I went, got on antidepressants, and then I started seeing a therapist. And I started telling her, just about my life. And that's when she was like, have you ever been told that you have ADD? And I was like, huh? No. Like, no. Because, when you hear ADHD, people talk about hyper.
Yeah, they
and
talk
you're
about
like,
the hyperactive boy that jumps up and down. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just sit on the couch. Like, I'm not hyper at all, And so she started explaining and we started talking about it, and, kind of went from there. And it just like made so much sense to me. I started researching it more, and I was just like, oh, okay. So yeah, I'm still all of these things, but there's a reason, why I'm all of these things. I'm not just this lazy person who just chooses not to get things done, like it is hard. Like the amount of steps that it takes to get laundry done, people don't realize, like, if you're not ADD or ADHD, your brain has the executive functions. But when you break down the actual steps, give people instructions on how to properly wash, dry, fold, put away, there are multiple steps to
Yeah.
that.
And then they just say, oh, it's just washing. It's just washing.
Yes.
And you're like, it's not just washing. For you, it's just washing. But
No.
for us, it's not just washing.
No. It is like picking up
Many
all the clothes off the floor, putting them in the basket, you know. Oh my gosh. Then remembering that you actually started the load, you know,
Yes.
even if the
Oh,
timer goes.
yeah. And then it starts to smell like damp.
Yes. Yes. And you're like, okay, I'm put this timer on. Then the timer goes off. And you're like, I gotta do one more thing. Hold on. And then you forget about it. And then you're like, oh, I needed those pants today.
And then they're just there like smell. So do you think that finding out ADHD, like how did that kind of did that impact you or change anything?
It definitely changed and impacted me a lot. It gave me an understanding, and it gave me kind of a reason,
Okay.
you know, and I can explain to people, because of my RSD, my rejection sensitivity disorder, it helps me let people know this is me. And this is why I am the way that I am. I don't want to be this way all the time, but this is who I am. And please know that I have the best intentions. You know, it may not go, it may not, it doesn't go. I don't know why I said that. That was a politically correct
We
word, right?
try to go, but it doesn't.
Right, exactly. Like I'm the person that I love everybody and I want to do the best that I can. And it falls flat a lot, and so it just finally gave me an opportunity to really explain to people. And through that explaining, it helps me to realize, like, okay, Khalilah, you're not this complete failure that you think you are. So I would say that's the biggest impact that I had. And finally being able to look at my husband and just say, I'm struggling right now. Like, I really want to do this right now, but I'm having a hard time. And this is what I need from you.
Yeah, it gives you like that. It's not the excuse, because before you know you have it, it's like, oh, you have to make excuses because you can't, there's no reasoning because you don't know.
Yes.
So when you understand, it's like, well,
Yes.
I can't do it. It's not I won't do it. It's because I can't.
Yeah,
And
I can't. Not right now.
Yeah, not right now. I need to think about it and plan.
Yeah.
But there's 75,000 steps to washing. But it will get there.
I need to be in the mood. Exactly. And I need to be in the mood. Like, I don't think, like, okay, so we've been going to church for a really long time, right? Okay. And people have always talked about, don't let your emotions rule you. And when you have ADD, it is hard not to have your emotions rule you. Like, you wake up and you're like, today is the day. My whole house, all 2,000 blah, blah, blah square feet of my house is going to be completely clean from top to bottom. The lies that you set yourself up for when you feel really good, right?
Yeah, we all do. It's because the intention's there.
Yes.
And then tell me what happens. I know, but tell me.
And then you realize nothing happened. Nothing happened.
But then the guilt.
Yes. Oh my gosh. The guilt of, like, you go to somebody's house who is like completely sterile, and you're just like, you have 3 kids, you have a dog, you have a husband. How did you make dinner? How does your house look like this? And then you go home to yours and you're just like, oh, ADD.
That's why. Yeah, that's why. Right. So we're going to have a quick break, and Khalilah's going to still stay in our cupboard. And then we're going to come back and we're going to dive into more of Just this is brilliant. More of closet talk with Khalilah. That's what this episode's called, Closet Talk with Khalilah. Right. I will see you all in a jiffy. If you would like any information on Indigo's support group, check out the website below for our link to our Facebook page, or email at indigo.adhd2020@gmail.com. If you would like to offer any comments or feedback, or if you are interested in the world hearing your story, then please reach out, either through the group or through our email. As said before, have a good week. Check in again later, Indigos. Shh, the Indigo Diaries. And we're back with Khalilah in the closet. If you didn't join us before, we're here with Khalilah, a mum of two and an ADDer or ADHDer, however you say it. So she's still in the closet, and we ended up as true ADHDers or ADHDers or however you say it. We always end up in the break actually starting to talk, and then we go, oh, we're not recording. So in the break, we were discussing perfectionism. So over to you, Khalilah.
Oh my gosh. Right. Okay. So when I do get into that cleaning mode, right, and I'm cleaning something, I'm sorry, excuse me, whatever it is, I will find the smallest spot. And if that spot does not look spick and span, I will work on that spot. I will work all the nooks and crannies, because I finally am cleaning. And now I'm in the cleaning mode. Do not interrupt my cleaning mode, because I don't know when this is happening again. So just let me enjoy it and just leave me be. And I just become so hyper focused on that. And it is so exhausting. By the time I have done cleaning, whatever it is I'm cleaning, God bless America. Like, I don't want to do this for a while, because it's so much. And as a photographer, my ADD shows so much of my photography. It is an art, right? And so I'll be editing a photo and I will see every little thing, and it takes me forever to finish it. Will the client ever know? They have no clue.
They just see this beautiful photo.
They just see a photo they like, they love, whatever, and that's all. They're like, oh, this is great. And if I miss something, I'm just looking at the photo like, oh, there's a piece of hair that is highlighted. Oh my gosh, they gotta see this hair, So yes, procrastination, like you were saying, and perfection. I'll procrastinate because I know once I get going, it's really hard for me to stop. And again, I have 2 children and I have a husband, and somebody will be asking me for something or wanting to talk about something. And it's hard to get out of that mode once I'm in there. So
how do you so you're a photographer. So how have you kind of become a photographer, and how, obviously I know how you become a photographer, but like, how have you decided to do photography, and how does kind of your ADHD kind of come with that?
Oh, that is the question of the decade, right? So I've always loved photography. My father was is an amateur photographer.
Wow.
Yeah, he doesn't really dabble in it anymore, but when I was a baby and a toddler, he used to take photos of me. So there's a couple of photos that he's taken of me that I absolutely love and adore. And this is one of me on a swing, and I have the happiest smile on my face, right? And I love photos that show emotion, that show any type of emotion, but specifically raw happiness. Like if I can show a photo with raw happiness, I feel like I have, just graduated from life again. It's just like, yes, that is who you are. That is the joy that we all have in us, right? And so anyway, so I have tears in my eyes. You probably can't tell because photography is like this love-hate relationship that I have with it. Because I want to be so good at it. And I'm a perfectionist and it doesn't always come out to be that way. So anyway, back in 2014, we were living in Hawaii and I had a friend who was like teaching a photography class and I was like, I'll take it. My son was still, my youngest was 3. I think I was just trying to find who I was as a person beyond being a stay-at-home mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I'll take it. And there was this amazing photographers group in Hawaii, military spouses. And I learned that they got together. They would go do photo shoots together. It was just a group of comrades that just found something that they loved, right? And so shortly after I took the class, they had a photo shoot at a what do you call that thing? A fair, a state fair, right?
Okay.
Where you have all the rides and stuff. And I went with other photographers and I was just like, this is amazing. It was like it was like a tapeworm of photography. You get a tapeworm and like
Yeah.
I wanted to learn as much about photography as possible. And so I started shooting and things were going really, really well. I started being a part of these groups and putting my photos out, and I would get a feature of the day or feature of the week or whatever. And once that started happening, that's when the perfectionism took over. It like engulfed me like a tidal wave, and fear took over me, and I just started feeling like imposter syndrome. Like I am not good at this, there's
No,
no
exactly.
way I can keep this up, this facade up of being this great photographer. And that began a multi-year struggle of really believing in myself as a photographer. But I couldn't stop taking photos because I really love, I do. I love just taking a good picture of somebody. I don't know how to describe it other than I think because for me, I felt so lost in this world. Oh, I'm such an emotional person. This is so annoying. I'm sorry. I'm tearing up again.
You don't need to say sorry. Tears, everybody. It's what
Oh my God.
we do. It's what we do. We're passionate people.
So, I will be clearing my throat because of postnasal drip. But anyway, because I feel like with ADHD, you feel just not a part of the world so often. Photography has become a place to showcase who a person is. Like you're valid.
Is it like it's like your escape? Like it's like your place where is that what you mean?
It is. And it not only that, it's showing the other person that they're valid. Like
Validation.
yes, this is who you are. You are this beautiful person. If I can give you any gift, that is a great gift of who you are in a photo. Like that is mine.
It's the proof. It's the proof
Yes.
of it's kind of like here's your photo, here's the proof of kind of what everybody else sees.
Yes, that you may not see. And so anyway, so that's my love-hate relationship with photography right there. And ADD plays a crazy role of perfectionism, of procrastination, because I have to edit photos. And so I procrastinate with that because I hate editing because it's so multi-stepped and blah, blah, blah. Photography has really highlighted and put my ADD on full blast. So yeah, it's been a struggle, but it's getting better.
It's sad though because you're so passionate about it, as you can see from. Well, I can hear. Well, people can't see, but they can hear from your voice and your tone. It's such a shame because you know, sometimes even with every job, like the passion sometimes is there, but there's so much more layers to just taking
So much more.
photos. You know, the taking
Yeah.
photos is the bit you obviously love and the
Yeah.
outcome at the end, but there's just so much more to it. The small things are the hardest
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. I agree. It's a lot. I agree. But you know, I'm getting better, and this year has really been a blow up year for me. 2020, COVID sucks. But
Yeah, it does.
2020 for me in photography has really grown. And I've kind of sort of leaned in to the fact that maybe I do have something that people love, you know, and grow with it. You're not supposed to be perfect. It's an art. Like, it is an art. This is not a
Yes.
stock market, you know, where excuse me, I have to be it's rules and regulations to it. There are no rules and
Nah,
regulations
make
to
your
photography.
own rules.
Yeah, and so I finally realized that if I'm honest and if I'm genuine in what I do, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
So,
I agree with
yeah.
that. And then you'll get the honest people that want to
Yes,
work with you. And that's
that
what it
is
is.
so true.
It's just taking that faith and not doubting yourself and kind of just thinking, rather than trying to do what everybody else is doing, like, oh, I'll get the photo out to you in a week because that's what other
Yeah.
companies do and whatever. Just, you
Yes.
know, doing what is right for you.
Yes. Oh, yes. These poor people. I've been so late delivering photos, and it is really the emotions of, and other photographers feel this way. Like, there are
Mm.
memes out there where it's like, okay, you take the photos and you're like, oh my gosh, these are so amazing, you guys. Then you go home and you upload the photos and you're just like, I suck. I'm the worst photographer. I don't know. Am I even a photographer? Why am I trying to take these pictures of these people? And then, you know, you edit them and they're complete and you're like, oh my gosh, like, it's this whole roller coaster of emotions, you know, and you're just like, why do I do this to myself?
It's like every day they're like you. I remember you saying a long time ago in India, like, where's the middle seat for us?
Yes,
It's always up
yes,
here or down here.
yes,
Where is the middle
yes,
seat?
yes. I want to be in the middle. Somebody put me and just keep me in the middle. Take my pendulum swing and just like stop it right
Mm,
here. You know, it's but if I don't have that pendulum, I don't get things done. So it's funny that I want to be in the middle, but I need that deadline to push me, to move me, and to get it. I'm literally wiping my nose with a sock.
oh, brilliant! No filter. I have to say though, the pendulum thing. If you didn't
Yeah.
have the highs,
Yeah.
maybe you wouldn't be such a great photographer. I've seen it, everybody. I've seen her work, some of her work on
Oh,
Facebook, and it is amazing.
thank you. Oh my gosh, you're stop it. Stop it. Thank you. Yeah. I just love people. That's just what it is. It really is just people. Without people, my work cannot be my work.
Mm.
They have to give themselves to me, you know. And that's really what it comes down to. So moms will be like, oh my gosh, you captured their essence. I'm like, man, listen, I love kids. I'm a kid at heart. Me and your kid could bond, you know, but your kid has to feel comfortable in order to
Yeah.
be who they are, you know, and for me to be able to see that. So it's only because of them. But I should have did our thing like this today.
She's got a mask on now. She's having too much fun in the closet. She's come out the
I know.
closet. No, I'm
So I
joking.
started putting some heels on. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just love this. This episode is absolutely brilliant. So I don't even know where to go now. So so what about family?
Oh man. Okay.
Well, I'm opening a can of worms now.
I'm like, oh wait, hold on, let me gather this. So growing up for myself, I have a mom who will make sure I'm okay. As far as nobody can bother me, somebody tries to hurt me, she is on it. If I need to go to the doctor, she is on it. But as far as our personal relationship, was not the greatest growing up. It has since become much, much better.
Good.
And this year specifically has been a year of, I don't know if reckoning is a positive word, but growth. This has been a year of growth for us. But growing up in my childhood, it was not, my mother didn't know that I had ADD. So it was a typical, stop being lazy, clean up your room, oh, you don't do this because you're lazy, and so, and that's what I was taught, that I don't do these things because I'm lazy. And even though inside I knew I wasn't lazy, I just didn't know how to do what I needed to do, And so anyway, growing up, school was hard, and I don't think she knew how to really push that in me. She would be like, oh, you're so smart, whatever. But she was a single mom, so she was doing the best that she could with that. So it wasn't always roses and peaches. It was a lot of struggle in that relationship. And I think she's still learning. She's learned, and I actually need to ask her this. I'm going to have a conversation with her today. Since Sydney's diagnosis, my son, and since my diagnosis, I need to know, like, how does she feel about me now? I haven't asked her that question.
That's it. I love that you've just made that reflection, because that's what I did. That's a good question to ask, like, parents. How do you feel about it? Because I think that a lot of people, we concentrate on the individual, and obviously it is, I mean, we're living with it every day, but it actually affects a lot more than just us.
Yes. Yeah, you have a whole trail, a whole, like, it's like a hurricane has come through, and you're trying to, like, figure out, like, what happened, and you're the hurricane.
My mum and dad always used to say, you're the whirlwind of the family. The whirlwind. We're the whirlwind that keeps him, messes everything up, but then cleans it all up, but somehow.
If you do get it cleaned up, though, right? That's the thing. Yeah. Eventually it does get cleaned up. But so yeah, I need to kind of see how she feels now about it. But she did the best that she could growing up with me. My family's really weird. My dad is kind of in and out of my life, even today. Okay. Which I am not going to cry about that, because I am so over that and I'm so done. This is me talking to myself to not cry. So yeah, I think my dad has ADD. Oh, honey, I think he does. He is an incredibly smart man who just has struggled to just get it together throughout his life. And I don't think he's ever looked into that. So anyway, the relationship with him is kind of here and there. I don't know. That's it about my family.
No, I think that there. Like, obviously, since you were 16, you've had your husband and you've had that kind of that support system. So I suppose that, like, kind of, like you said, probably I don't know, the biggest impact, or, in kind of relationship wise. So what would you say? I remember you mentioning the RSD, you mentioned it earlier. And I remember you saying, like, in our pre-interview, that RSD has probably been one of the biggest impacts of kind of ADHD in your life.
Yes. Gosh, I cannot. So rejection. I can speak. Sensitivity disorder. I can send a text out. Like, okay, so, like, for example, the other day I sent a text about us getting a dog, and, like, the anxiety that I was starting to have about having a dog and us traveling. We love to travel, right? And financially, before we had kids, when we lived in England and Germany, we traveled all the time, right? And we did have kids in Germany, but anyway, we just love to do it. Well, since we've been back on the mainland in America, traveling, we still do it maybe once or twice a year, but it is not what it used to be. And so my husband's having a job switch. He's getting out the military, he's retiring, and he'll be a civilian. And so the opportunity to travel more financially will be more available to us, right?
Okay.
And so I'm like, oh my gosh, if we get a dog, why am I talking about a dog? Oh, rejection system, RSD. Sorry.
Just say RSD. It's so much easier.
I don't know why I keep saying the whole like title, but anyway, now I know why I was saying that. So I was sending out a text to my friends, sharing my anxiety about everything, and just trying to figure out what it would look like traveling, what we do with our dog, blah blah blah. And at the end of our conversation, I was like, I'm such an idiot. Like, I just sent this whole emotional text to them. And then at the end, after I shared how I felt, I was totally fine. I was like, okay, la, la, la. I can go on. I got that off my chest. I feel great until it hits me that they think I'm weird. Crazy.
It's that after moment, isn't it? It's that after moment, like, oh my God, they're not texting back like what they're doing. Oh, no.
Yes. It is like a constant, like you have an earthquake, right? Then you have the aftershock. And I feel like the aftershock of a moment of vulnerability or a strange moment, that aftershock reverberates in your body, in your mind for a long time, you know? And I find myself like just trying to question, you know, like, do you think I'm weird? Like, can you validate me now? Like, can you still let me know that I'm okay, even though I think I'm not okay?
And they've probably just not even thought about it. Like, they're probably, like, that's the worst bit. Like, we're sitting here at home, like, ruminating, like, doing all this stuff. And they're probably just getting on with the day, going out for a coffee, you know, getting on with the family at work.
Exactly.
And it's still going on in our head. And it's like, the intensity.
For days, sometimes for days, you know, like, and so I don't think people realize that. And it really affected my relationship and my husband a lot of like, even still to this day, like, I'll have these vivid dreams. I dream so vividly. Like, the dream is so real. And I'll wake up and I'll know it's a dream, but it still affects me emotionally. So the other day, I think it was like last week or something, and I'm like, hey, babe, how's it going? Like, I kept asking him, how are you doing? How are you doing? And he said to me, are you having an insecure day today? You know, because he could just tell I was searching for that validation. And like, that's RSD, you know, like, just don't reject me. Let me know that I am loved and, you know, I am needed by you. And just the fact that he acknowledged that was actually really big. And I was like, wow, you pay attention to me, you know, like, you know me.
Really? Like, I feel like when you're with a partner for a long time, after a while, they're kind of just like, they just get used to it, don't they? And that's why they're like, yeah, everything's fine. Like, sure, like, everything's fine.
You got me crying like crazy today. I just want you to know. I'm just a bag of tears right now.
Do you know why that is? Because it's real.
Yeah, this is my real ADD dysfunctional life.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
I think that's a big question. If there's anything you could change, what would you change anything?
Yes, I would. I always say I want a brain transplant. Like, I want to keep all my memories. I want to keep all the great things about me and just get rid of. Oh, that's such a loaded question. It like stirs the pot in my soul.
Sorry.
No.
I remember you saying something about this earlier, and man,
Like literally right now, this is what's happening in my heart, right? I mean, in my body, right? So you have a tumbler or a jar of filled with water and everything's at the bottom. And now that it's being stirred, my tears are the overflow of the bottle being stirred. Man, I would just want to be, if RSD could go away, and oh man, that's such a good question.
Oh, you got me going now.
It's such a loaded question. Definitely RSD, and definitely I would just say, I always say organization, because I don't know how to really describe how I want to be, but organized. Like I just want my brain to have compartments that
just want it to
put
be
together.
a bit easier.
Yes.
That's what I always say. Like, I try and like myself, I like try and say like I don't want it to change.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm just like, I just wish it could be a little bit easier.
I just wish I could be together. I wish I can just live a normal life of not worried about so many things, not constantly seeing the negative, because I feel like that's what ADD is, constantly a dysfunction, you know, a deficit. It is such a deficit, and that's what it should be called, a deficit disorder. Forget the attention part. It's just a deficit disorder. And that's really what I feel. I'm sorry, I'm still wiping my face with a sock.
I'm sorry, I have to
um
laugh.
no, it's okay. You have to laugh. Lisa's not underwear, you know that.
Oh yeah. I really like about your, Khalilah, is just your honesty, because I feel like, how people look at it different ways. People say it's not a deficit, it's a superpower. Yeah, it's this, it's that, it's this, is that. But it is what it is in your life, and that's what it is in your life, and that's valid.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot, it really is a lot. But, and no, not but. And as much as I hate it, it is who I am, and because of it, I have so much more grace for other people. I have so much more understanding. I'm so much more compassionate. And I want people to show their best, be their best, because I know how it feels. I know what those dark parts of life can be. And I want people to just be happy, and know that they're seen, and all of that. That is what I want every day of my life. I want to encourage everybody, because I know it can be so incredibly dark with ADD, and specifically as a woman. I can't talk for a man because I'm not a man. But I feel like for women it could just be so debilitating. And you're valid. You're amazing. Even in your darkest moments, you still deserve another chance.
Wow, for the first time I think in my entire life, I'm speechless. I don't get speechless a lot.
Goodness
Wow.
gracious.
Oh God. I was about to say, is there anything you'd like to leave us with? But I think you've just said it.
Yeah, I think so too. You're valid, people. You're amazing.
So the encouragement of this week is that you're valid.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you, Khalilah. I have to say, you're a true warrior. Your persistence, your resilience is so inspiring. I love that even with the struggles that you've said about every day, for not just you but your family, you're still getting up, you're still trying again. You know, it didn't go right at the start of the episode, but you got in your closet. You know, we didn't just give up and turn it off. And that's, for me, that's just pure strength. And no one does that for you. You do that yourself. I think many mums, adults, people will really be able to relate to you. This has been an episode where it's been no filters. Well, every episode's no filters. But it's just a real story, and it's so unique to you. And the fact that you feel validated, and I feel so validated now and kind of uplifted by your spirit. So I just want to say so much appreciation for you.
Thank you very much. Now I'm gonna go have a good cry before I go face my my day. I'll go back through the circle of it all.
Yeah, she's gonna have to get up out of her closet now and maybe wash the sock.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for doing this podcast and shining a light on not only the cons of ADD, ADHD, but really, if we're going to say there is a superpower to ADHD, I would definitely say it's the fact that we know each other.
Yeah,
you know, there's a bond, like immediately when you meet somebody with it, like you just know them, and you give us that opportunity. If it wasn't for you, Tosh, with Indigo, we wouldn't have any of this. And this is lacking so much in the world. You could tell by our group conversations, like it's lacking so much. And I know group starts in 7 minutes, so I need to shut up. But hey, thank you. Thank you so much for all that you do.
So yet again, we leave Indigos with many thoughts and reflections that some of this today might affect your life. So as said every week, thanks for joining us and goodbye. With this thought, whatever the challenge and struggles, just remember that is valid and you are valid. So signing out, Indigos. See you soon. Have a great week and please keep believing in yourself. And we're out.
Peace.
Dear diary.
Dear diary.
Dear diary.
Today is ending. I'll check in again tomorrow.
Tomorrow is a brand new beginning.
Good night, sweet dreams.
I think tomorrow will be
Shh.